every modification I made to my Volkswagen Transporter T6 4Motion, which took it from forecourt to front page. I'm going to tell you my recommendations. I am going to tell you my regrets. And I'm also going to show you the things that I've had to redo, so you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did. And this is your chance to let me know what you love or what you hate about my build. Go gentle. Here we go. First video was the 1 hour swamper. The thumbnail looked a little like this. In that video, we did the wheels and tires, first mod any build that I've ever done. They were the KMC whole shots with the BF Goodrich all-terrains. Now, as you can see, that is not what is currently on my van, so that will have to go in the regret pile. I will explain a little bit more about that. I loved them originally and it changed the look of the van massively. Also in that video, we did the arch kit, the lower protection kit. We blacked out our original Volkswagen badge, front and back. And we also put the rear bumper protector on there. Now this was the start of something where I decided to rid the black and chrome as much as possible. I then immediately went for the laser lamps. These things are absolutely gorgeous and the thumbnail looks a little like this. There's a full installation video. You can divide people into two camps whenever you mention the laser lamp for the Volkswagen Transporter, and that is the people that say they cannot justify the price of the laser lamp. And then you've got everyone that's actually bought them and they have no regrets. Not one person I have met that has bought the laser lamps for the Volkswagen Transporter or any other vehicle has ever said, I regret buying them. Then came the first video using the 5 upgrades narrative, and that thumbnail looks a little like this. In that video, I installed the rear arch plastic ABS covers. Absolutely awesome for a van that you're taking to work and you just want to be able to wipe that down. It's in a position, spoiler alert, I've got an Ovano, it's in a position where you can get that mucky with tools and things like that. So the ability to just be able to wipe that down was absolutely awesome from the off. I did a headlight hack. Ignore these headlights. But in that video, I showed an LED upgrade to the DRL, not the headlight. The amount of people that asked, can you simply change the headlight bulb? You cannot. The lights that come with a Volkswagen Transporter, pretty much all around the whole vehicle, are notoriously bad. For about £15, you can upgrade that DRL, spend most of your time driving in the day. It looked awesome. I was later to do other things, but just for the narrative, keep it. In the very same video, I fitted the OE Volkswagen floor mats from Transport HQ. Once again, if you look at my whole setup, it has that wipe downable, get it muddy, wipe it back down again, doesn't really matter. Same with the rubber flooring. With the rear seats, I love having the ability of adding a bit of spray and just cleaning it throughout. And we also fitted the Heco wind deflectors, worth their weight in gold. Once again, links to all of these will be below. The final mod on that list was the Caravans side door pockets. Just that extra bit of storage. That space is doing nothing. I know other people have put their tables mounted on the inside, but as space is a premium in the Volkswagen Transporter, having 3 additional pockets, absolutely cracking. I then took the van to a professional conversion company for open heart surgery. That was the Pop Top by Oztops. I love doing modifications and things on my driveway, but know your limits. That is probably one of my favorable traits, knowing what I should and shouldn't do on my driveway. Sometimes you just have to pay a guy. And I did go for the scenic option with Oztops. That means I get to pull the canvas back, pin it back, and make Gucci pictures and things like that. Not necessarily used it in this kind of sense. And I went for the upgraded bed, so that means I've got the Froley bed system. Now, while it was at Vanimal, which are the guys that did the Pop Top, we got a whole list of things ticked off. We cut a couple of windows in. We carpeted the whole van. We sound deadened it. I then took it across the road and we put the combi seats, the original Volkswagen floor. He even did the 35mm iBack Comfort lift kit. None of these, apart from the Pop Top, have a dedicated video. They were too mechanical. There are so many videos out there online, but basically 3 days after I dropped it off, we had a combi van with the factory seats, the scenic pop top, a couple of windows, fully carpeted, fully boxed off. What a transformation. The next 5 upgrades on the list, that thumbnail looked a little like that. The first on that list was the sounds like a Golf door sills. I can confirm it sounds like a Golf. I also fitted the dashboard rubber, which clues in the title. It is a piece of rubber you put in your dashboard and it stops you losing all your worldly possessions down that little gap. Sticking to the cab area, in that video I also upgrade the incandescent bulbs to LEDs in the interior light there. I very rarely travel with my +1 from my 2+1 setup, so from Transporter HQ, once again, you can buy these little doodahs here that basically cover this, they look better, and it stops them getting filled with Smarties. Definitely not reading from a long list of notes. The next mod was the light bar. This was the first mod that pushed me past the point of no return. And the reason for that is the brackets that support the light bar are in fact drilled into the A-pillar. Now, I made a video, the thumbnail looks a little bit like this. Yes, the brackets, these Hess brackets, were £350. Worth every single penny, I promise you. Yes, they're branded and the Hess part kind of bleeds through on the white part of the body. There are brackets on Amazon, 50, 60 quid, but who's drilling their A-pillar for an Amazon bracket of 50 quid? Because my light bar was such a good deal from Augsbeam, does all of these kind of different flashy orientations, I just use it as a DRL on orange when weather is terrible because it's a little bit too bright. That is one of the things that I may redo in the future. I like the strands one because the DRL is actually manageable. I have people flashing me when the bad weather stops because the orange is a bit too much. Do you like the light bar? That is a genuine question. I asked on the video if it's the first time you've seen this. The reason I say this is past the point of no return is everything else that I've done up to now, or had done up to then, was reversible. I could at any point slam this and make it a totally different van. When you've got a bracket drilled to your A-pillar, there's pretty much no going back, but we did take it even further. We then went full swamper mode and we blacked the bonnet. This is a wrap, not a bra, not sprayed. This white UAO is over the top. So if the day did come, if the brand changed, or if someone bought the vehicle, that can be removed and the bonnet wrap stays in place. At the same time, the racing stripe put up the side with the Urban Arc Overland. Once again, that white is overlaid. That can be removed at any time. It just breaks up that solid white. And we had the sun visor. You probably can't really tell because the light bar is there, but that is a decent size vinyl wrap. He made that, which is not an easy thing because apparently it's like cambered and angled and shaped, but that is a wrapped sun visor. I then went and visited the guys at Ovano and I got the switch narrow installed. I've always said I love the guys at Ovano, I love the brand, and I truly mean it, and I truly love the product. The ability to create a bulkhead, a flat surface to sleep on, all of this storage, a 200 kilo plus tray that kind of just comes out all of this way. I am going to miss it. It is for sale. The reason it's for sale, I will explain later. The van is going places which no longer needs the Ovano, but I love it. Had this in the van about 9 months. It's exactly the same as it was the day it was installed. It looks like new and operates just like it did the day we got it. The same time I was at Ovano getting the switch narrow installed, I had this swing out table installed. Now, the only thing at a show that gets more attention than my very own table is this. Bolts straight into the B pillar. What a bit of kit this is. I mean, I prefer my own table, but close runner up, the Ovano table. And stay on brand, I had the Ovano rear seat backs. I actually installed like one of these Molly bum bags as a bit of a brew kit. but it just buttons off the big gaps that you get in a standard transporter. Want to see more of the Ovano? That video looks a little bit like this. Now in that video, you will spy a bit of a gap because I was halfway in the process of fitting the secret door hatch, secret panel, I don't know, Transport HQ product. I didn't make a video on that, basically, because they had their own. And why just repeat something else that's online? Just doesn't make sense. But great little bit of kit. I'm yet to actually put a utility in there because some people put like water feeds or power inputs, that kind of thing. Then went on a bit of a mission to see if I can get rid of a few more bits of chrome. So the front grille, as standard on a Highline, has a strip of chrome across there. That basically pings off and you can buy them in black. Just makes that front end a little bit darker. And I also went for the black sequential indicators, once again, trying to get rid of any kind of shiny bits. I know it sounds cheesy, but I then went for the stick-on door handles in black. One day they will be wrapped, but for now, in truth, they actually look pretty cool. After camping in -5 in the pop top, I nearly gave the van up, so it was time for a diesel heater. Now I installed an AUTOTERM planar 2 kilowatt diesel heater. It is under the seat that I'm sat on right now. I went on the installation course, and the horror stories that I heard, the mistakes that people were making, sometimes not drastic mistakes, I figured it was time to make a video that followed the letter of the law, but also explained a few common easy mistakes to make. That thumbnail looks a little bit like this. So if winter is coming, you can literally watch that video and install it step by step. And that video is in fact on AUTOTERM's website and is marked as installation instructions. That was actually quite a proud moment for me. And so to power the diesel heater, I went for the Clayton LPS2 3000, and in truth, it's the only thing I am now recommending that you use when you're trying to power a leisure system in a van such as a Volkswagen Transporter, and in fact, even bigger vans, because the expansion batteries are now here. So you can make a system as big as you like. In a Volkswagen Transporter, space is a premium. What you get in that Clayton for the space is incomprehensible. 3000 watt inverter, 160 amp hour battery, 400 watt MPPT input, and it charges at 45 amps every time you run the engine. You can get 10% off if you use UAO LPS at Transporter HQ. Now, I'm fully aware that I've mentioned Transporter HQ a couple of times, and I've also mentioned discount codes. The reason I'm mentioning this right now in this section of the video, because it is about now that Transporter HQ reached out to me and said, would you like to offer everyone a discount code of UAO5? Absolutely buzzing. So this stage is when the Transporter build started to get noticed. Blew my mind that I can offer you guys 5% off at somewhere as cool as Transport HQ, because basically I've pretty much built this van at Transporter HQ. But that's not where I got my FIAMMA awning from, because I don't think they sell them. When I fitted this, the thumbnail to that video looked a little bit like this. People asked, why did you go for the FIAMMA over the other brands such as the THULE and the Dometic? And there was basically two reasons. One, and probably the driving force, was the color. This is in deep black. The THULE one, THULE, is almost like a graphite gray, and there's nothing on my van that would have matched that. And also, reason two is I have one on the big van so you can share the accessories. So I've got some tie down straps, I've got them little plimps where you put over the feet and you can peg them down. All of the pegs are the same. Even the wind out awning, knowing, you know, the wind out bit, if I did lose one, break one, leave it behind on a campsite, I could share stuff across the two awnings. And that's basically the only reason why. But I did use THULE brackets. And there's a reason for that, because of the pop top. The FIAMMA brackets want you to use the gutter, whereas these ones, watch the video. If you've got a pop top and a Transporter, watch this. Then set out on what I called the UAO Christmas Roadshow. First stop was Ovano. Once again, a few months had passed by now, but I wanted the bike bar that went across there so that you can house a mountain bike. And I also wanted the second table. So I've now actually got 2 tables, 1 on each pillar. And the idea is with the arms, you can swing them round and make 1 long bench. The space was doing nothing else and it's absolutely fantastic. You can't have too many flat surfaces in a van. I then headed to Volkswagen T5 Upgrades, the only other shop really when it comes to the transporter that I use. How I've always explained it before is if you're going down this road, there may be a few things that Transport HQ do not stock. For example, the snorkel. As far as I'm aware, they don't stock the Bravo snorkel. Now, I had that installed at Volkswagen T5 Upgrades at the same time as the Terra Firma winch. Check that bad boy out. Now, if the winch doesn't really appeal to you and the snorkel doesn't appeal to you and the underbody protection that I had done at the same time doesn't really appeal to you, the video may. The thumbnail looks a little bit like this, and we took this and Matt from Volkswagen T5 Upgrades, we took his AA van and we did a bit of off-roading. Wow, that guy is just reckless. And after the visit to Wales, I then went back across to Leicester, which I believe was part 3 of the UAO Christmas Roadshow. That thumbnail looks a little bit like this. And I had the headlights installed. So you remember the very beginning of the video and I said we did the headlight hack. I would then go on to change the headlights. And the reason I did is because they brought out the black on black on black, absolutely belting. So the front end of this van, as far as I'm concerned, after the winch, the headlights, oh, and even the sticky reflective number plate, because the number plate location has changed. I am so in love with the look of this van. And the reason I did bob into Transport HQ was not only to say hello and shake hands and look around their vast warehouse, because the place is absolutely monstrous. If you go for headlights like this that have the super duper LEDs on the main beam, you will need someone to change a few of the digits on VAGCOM. Episode 4, I believe, of the Christmas Roadshow looks a little bit like this. I went in and picked up my seats. They were previously ordered. It's not like a on the day kind of turnaround. It's not the dentist by any stretch of the imagination. Almost like a hybrid between a Recaro and a Shillman. That was the inspiration that I went for. So this is Alcantara, as the little logo just laser etched in there, nice and subtle, even. These are the foam backs to a Golf Mark 7, but they still remain a transporter seat. It's only the backs that I've changed. We have Alcantara. This is factory Golf material, and so too are the sides. So it's still keeping that Volkswagen kind of feel to it, but look at it. Look at it. I love them. Absolutely love these. And in that very same episode, I had to have my brakes done. I didn't do them because I wanted to do them. I did them because they were low and they were squealing, and I went for NUTEXA Fabrications, link in the description. They used the motto stops on a dime. Now they didn't the day I drove away because naturally they all need bedding in, but man alive, do they make a difference. What a cool product that is. Brakes are a bit of a boring subject. You never really choose to do that kind of thing, but when you're flying about in 3 tons worth of metal, you need to be able to stop. The next 5 upgrades, because that was a narrative that was actually working well for the channel. Major upgrade, the Navis Gelida. Loved the KMC hole shots. They looked fantastic. So mean, very, very popular, which I didn't realize at the time when I ordered them. They were quite common, but they rusted. They corroded, and people know about it now. People knew about it then. I didn't. That is one of my regrets, only because it financially kicked me in the knee a little. These Gelidas, they look mint. They look the real deal. I love them. I love these wheels. I did keep the tyres. I think tyres cost more per unit than the wheel itself, which is absolutely crazy. UAO 5, I know people are using on wheels and tyres at Transport HQ will get you about £90 off a set of 4. So it is worth using. But these now, there's no studs that can corrode. I believe it was the chemical reaction happening between the studs on the outer circle and the wheel itself, which was causing them KMC hole shots to corrode. Such a shame. a nice wheel. So that was a regret, one that with a bit more research, I could have probably avoided. In that same video, I went for an audio upgrade, which was Alpine door speakers and A-pillar tweeters. I do joke in that video and suggest that the driving force behind buying that Alpine kit was the actual aesthetic upgrade you get in that A-pillar with that grille. I stand by it. They look the dog's danglies, I tell you. That was actually quite a big video. I think I remember the thumbnail suggesting that it was close to about £3,000 worth of upgrades. In that video, in that very same video, I show you the steering wheel upgrade that I had done at Seat Surgeon. So you keep all of your buttons, you keep all of your airbag, but you change the frame. Alcantara to match my seats, it makes me smile every single time I get in the van. I honestly give it a little bit of a stroke down every single time. It just, with the seats, with things like that and the speakers, because the audio, I know I joke about them looking so good, the audio that now comes out is phenomenal. What a difference it makes when you do these kind of upgrades and just make this cockpit area so much nicer. This is a little work light, let's call it, from Steady UK. I've tapped this light into my reverse wire, which is just above there in this little cluster, 2 wires. If you own a Volkswagen Transporter, you probably feel my pain. I've got quite a long driveway, which is unlit. If I need to reverse up that, because I'm the first one out in the morning, what a nightmare. It is basically a guessing game. Well, now with this, flip it in reverse, the whole driveway is just lit up. What a difference this makes. It is a swamper look, don't get me wrong. If you're low down, looking pretty and shiny, might not be your cup of tea. On something like this, it's pretty cool. And that brings us up to date of where the van was at the time this magazine came out, which was only about 2 weeks ago, but I've been busy since. Can you spot the difference between this van and that van? We are going full camper. That's why the Ovano's going. That's why this video exists now, because the van is going to be totally transformed. Again. And because it's going full camper, I went for a jiggle about with the windows. On the other side, I had one of them inverted panels which slid across. Never liked it, never opened it. That is now a fixed piece of glass. This was a fixed piece of glass, and this is now the Safari window from Camper Glass, which I can confirm is pretty cool. Also gone for a second piece of glass on the back. So there's glass all round now, which then led me to be fitting the van shades. The quickest, easiest and cleanest way to create a blind, to create a flat surface. I'm actually going to do something which I don't think I've necessarily seen. I'm going straight over the top of all of that with my very own design. You'll have to stay tuned for that. I'm still waiting for one for that side. And I have a genuine Volkswagen bike rack, which I've had powder coated, mainly because they look cool, but the ability to add extra storage, because while this van is being redone and being sold, I'm scared that I won't have a camper for myself that my wife will actually want to come with me. So I'm making this camperable. It might not have a shower, darling, but it will still be comfortable and it looks amazing. So I've always got a camper. That is my plan. So it's not just because I like farting around with vans, even though I like farting around with vans. This is the first version of the completed UAO T6 4Motion. Stay tuned for part 2, because I've got a layout that no one has ever seen before.